Hello, welcome back to Firesense Gaming. My name is Ben, and today we're going to continue on Suzerain 2.0. So, last time out, we did the unthinkable and ceded control of territory to Rumburg in order to stop an invasion. And then Pascal, Simon, and David all resigned their positions as well, which, that's not a surprise, somebody always resigns at the end, so that's whatever. But yeah, we wound up losing Narbel and Estord, so just this little chunk of the country here is gone now. So that's not good. There's literally no way to get a good ending on this playthrough anymore, but hey, that's alright. It happens. So, we got 3 newspapers here, so let's check them out. So, first up from the Whole Sword Post, Wave of Resignation Strike Rain Administration. Sources within the Maroon Palace have revealed that yesterday multiple influential members of President Rain's cabinet approached him to tender their resignations. The identities of those who resigned, the reasons for doing so, and the timeline of their departures remain undisclosed at this time. However, this development, when considered alongside the recent upheaval within the administration, is expected to have a significant impact on Rain's prospects in the upcoming election. The unfolding events underscore the challenges the president faces as he seeks to secure his political future and maintain his party's standing. And from the Lockhaven Times, Future of Rain's Cabinet. In the wake of last week's high-profile cabinet resignations, attention has shifted towards President Rain, whose term is nearing its conclusion. As of now, no appointments have been made to fill vacant positions, raising questions about the stability and effectiveness of the current administration during this critical period. Undoubtedly, these developments will significantly influence the upcoming election, as President Rain seeks a potential second term in office. The administration's ability to navigate this delicate situation and address concerns regarding leadership and governance will be crucial factors in determining the president's electoral prospects and the future direction of the nation. And from the Radical, resignations. Who's on Rain's side now? After the latest wave of cabinet resignations, we have to ask who, if anyone, is still supporting Anton Rain. To have such valuable and experienced officials desert the administration so close to the elections is both a crushing blow and a decisive referendum on the Rain presidency. It's looking more and more like Rain will go down in history as an ineffectual one-term president, just like his predecessor. Fantastic. Got some codex updates, cabinet. I'm guessing it's just all 3 of those guys resigning. Yep, I guess just Pascal. Yeah. And, whoops. Simon. Should be the same thing. Yep. Resign and protest. Alright, fantastic. Well, this should be fun. Let's send the United Southern Party Congress. It was the day of the United Southern Party's Congress. For the 3rd time in the party and Southern's history, a candidate was challenging an incumbent president. Surge was driving me to the Grand National Assembly for this historic event. I looked out the window as we passed through the small forest dividing the Maroon Palace and the Assembly. I thought about the day I announced my candidacy against Seville Defonso when he was still president. Then I had remembered how, just a few years before that, Neville had challenged Tarkin's soul.
How are you feeling back there, sir?
I'm okay, Surge. How are you doing?
I'm as good as can be, sir.
Surge made a left turn out of the forest and entered the vast garden area of the Assembly.
I still don't know how Miss Graf could run against you. She knows her position to you.
Honestly, she doesn't know me anything. I only picked her conservative support.
Still, I would never bite the hand that fit me.
He parked the car in front of the gate that led to the USP's wing of the Assembly.
Good luck, Miss President. See you on the way back.
Thank you, Serge. I entered the building and joined the crowd of influential politicians, lobbyists, and benefactors who gathered for this turning point. It was almost time for the debate. The crowd dispersed and members of the USP went inside the Congress Hall. United Southern banners hung from every possible spot. I tried to mentally prepare for my speech, but the lingering memories from the first 2 leadership races were making it hard for me to focus. As if on cue, Lily strode past me into the hall, accompanied by a large group of her supporters. Instead of her usual beige, she wore a sun-yellow skirt and blazer. Yosef was on her left. Then I noticed Pascal. Even he seemed to be throwing support behind Lilius now. I tried to ignore them as I entered the hall. I took a seat next to Gloria and waited for the session to begin. Mr. President, time to face Lilius, it seems. Let's do this. You can do this, Mr. President. If you do what you do best, you'll be fine. I wish I could be that optimistic. Look, it's starting. She pointed at the podium. Lucian was there. He was about to introduce the candidates.
Ladies and gentlemen,
The hall fell silently and started speaking.
we gather here today in the 28th Congress of the United Soldier Party for the third leadership race in its history. On the occasion of my 20th year in the party, I am honored to be opening this historic session today. The members of the USP will soon be voting on whether President Rain or Lilius Graf shall assume leadership going forward. Before we begin the selection process, I would like to invite both candidates to give very short speeches. First, I would like to invite Anton Rain, the fourth president of Soldan and the chairman of our party.
I stood up and walked to the podium amid applause and campaign music. I shook his hand before I began addressing the party. Let's see. I mean, we're gonna lose no matter what. I'm not entirely sure if it makes a difference here. But, ladies and gentlemen, I did my best to make Sordland a better place. I took office to bring reform to this country. And I fought through the Assembly and the Supreme Court to make it a reality. I took a deep breath. I may have made mistakes, but I promise to fix it all. Help me continue our fight to make this country great. What I have achieved in my first term cannot be denied. Do not fall for Miss Graf's lies. She betrayed our trust by leaving a very important office. Let's go with that. Miss Graf is a puppet of Tarkin's soul and the old guard, nothing else. Elect me again so we can continue our great transformation. Borgna Vescore. I mean, that was not a great speech, but that's okay. It's probably the best we can do right now. The campaign music started blaring again as I left the podium. Lucian shook my hand again, and I walked back to my seat to the sound of loud applause. I sat back down next to Gloria. It wasn't half bad. I liked your speech. Lucian spoke from the podium again.
Thank you again for your speech, Mr. President. Now I'd like to invite the next candidate to the stage. She is one of the most experienced and respected members of this party. We all know her accomplishments in Arvery and Horsord. Let's welcome the former Minister of the Interior of Soldan, Lilius Graf. All started applauding. Lilius walked up to the podium accompanied by an old national song about the sword of civil war. Aletta Inta Norkni, or the light in the darkness. Her eyes had a fire in them that I'd never seen before. Fellow compatriots, it's an honor to be a candidate for the leadership of our great United Soldan Party. She pulled out a handkerchief and dabbed at her eyes. Forgive me, this beautiful song always fills me with emotion. My opponents might call it a weakness. I consider it a strength. It brings me hope to see all the energy in this Congress Hall today, but hope alone does not suffice. I don't want to listen to songs any longer. I want us to sing them from the rooftops. What is it that you want, sons of dollars in Solland? I'll tell you right now. You want a president who will stand bravely against the wealthy elites in the mansions rather than kowtow to every demand. You want a Soldan that protects its own rather than letting in foreigners who have no respect for our culture. You don't want a president who brings millions of Vasic and Bludish refugees who are actively supporting regimes and atrocities, igniting a refugee crisis. You want a strong and united Soldan. And I am here to tell you that none of these things are possible as long as Anton Rain is in office. As those who rule the state become more and more alienated from the values that make us who we are, and the deplorables who stand silent against this sink us deeper into a quagmire of moral and cultural corruption. During Mr. Rain's term, the USP lost its identity and risked losing supporters. He made an alliance with PFJP completely against our party's wishes. He tore his own wife away from her rightful place at home and forced her into politics in the name of women's liberation. He even worked with the enemies of the state to legitimize secessionist aspirations, tearing our beloved Berger off from Solna and turning it into a semi-independent region for the Bloods. And he did all of that without even managing to fix the recession. Soldier people are still suffering. As if that weren't enough, Mr. Rain is responsible for throwing our dear leader, Tarkin Soul, in prison. He has dragged his party and his upstanding reputation through the mud for far too long. Ah, fuck you, Lilius. Don't worry, let her say what she wants. The result won't change. After nearly 4 years of the President behaving abominably against my advice, I had no choice but to tender my resignation. For I believed we could achieve much more, for I still believe in the idea of a united Sorland. I appeal to your innate sense of honor and dignity as Solish people. Elect me as your leader, and I promise that with the Lord on my side, I shall elevate this party and this glorious nation to the heavens. Mr. Rain, your time leading this country is through. I am here to bring down the walls you built. Thank you, Alec Morgan of Escore. We're not going to applaud. I didn't react to her speech. The voting began. I filled up my ballot, making an X next to my own name, and lined up to drop it in the ballot box. After all the votes were cast, we sat back down and waited for the announcement. After some time, Lucy appeared on the stage again.
Thank you everybody for voting today. The results are ready. After counting every vote, we have come to a conclusion. The winner of today's leadership votes is determined to be Lydia Scroff.
To literally no one's surprise, the hall reverberated with thunderous applause.
I congratulate our new leader and our next candidate for president.
I couldn't believe it. For a moment, my sight darkened. All I heard was the shouting, Lily, yes, Lily, yes. I couldn't focus. Everything became a blur. Are you okay, Mr. President? Yeah, I need a moment. I sank down in my seat and sighed deeply. We're going with this because, I mean, yeah. I think after this loss, I must resign from politics entirely. I can't tell if you're being sarcastic. I mean, honestly, even if I tried to go for the independent route, it's not going to end well. We just signed away a chunk of the country. No one's going to vote for us. So, I'm not sarcastic. I'll resign when my term ends. Nobody's holding it back, Mr. President. You can retire whenever you want. I stood up and walked to the rostrum to make the announcement. I took a deep breath. Fellow members, it gives me great pleasure and great sorrow to address you for what may be the last time. The truth is, I failed you. Constant distractions from our enemies abroad made it impossible for me to focus on improving the situation at home. At the end of my term, I'll be leaving politics to spend more time with my family. As for my successor, I'd rather the PFJP win the presidency than a traitor like Lily Scroff. It's been an honor to serve you. That was it. There's no turning back. My presidency was nearly over. This was the beginning of the end. Fantastic. Alright, well that feels like it's probably the best way to go there. Especially if there's some well, not some. A lot of discontent among the generals. I'd rather not get Rain killed. So, let's check out the newspaper results here. Or, articles, I mean. So, from the Whole Sword Post, Rain resigns as a sword loser. After losing the USP Party Congress vote to Lily Scroff, President Rain declined to endorse the party's new leader and presidential candidate, as is Sortland political tradition. Rain's ungracious exit provides more proof that the president is no longer fit to lead the party of Tarkeen Sol. Unlike him, we wish Miss Groff luck in her next campaign, not that she needs it. And Groff victorious at USP Congress. In a historic turn of events, Sortland is potentially on the brink of inaugurating its first female president, and as former Interior Minister Lily Groff secures the United Sortland Party's endorsement during the party congress. Following an impassioned and captivating speech, Groff successfully outpaced incumbent Anton Rain in the voting process, ultimately claiming the party's nomination. As the chosen candidate for the USP, she's now poised to represent the party in the forthcoming elections, where many anticipate a triumphant outcome for the USP, keeping with their established track record of electoral success. Groff's victory at the party congress not only signals a potential shift in the nation's leadership, but also serves as a testament to the growing demand for change within the USP. As the nation watches with bated breath, the prospect of Sortland's first female president offers a new chapter in the country's political narrative, and the upcoming elections will determine the lasting impact of this historic moment. And from Sortland today, Lily Groff seals vote at USP Congress.
At the ESP Party Congress, power-mad spinster Lily Scruff lied and cheated her way into grabbing a majority of member votes. Despite the results clearly being illegitimate, the rest of the party is going along with Groff's charade and will be putting her forward as presidential candidate in the next election. Our sympathies lie with President Anton Rain, who gave an inspiring speech at the Congress and, in a fair world, would be running for re-election. And Rain announced his retirement. In a surprising turn of events following his defeat to Lily Scruff at the USP Party Congress, President Anton Rain has declared his intention to retire from politics once his term concludes. The circumstances of Rain's loss bear a striking resemblance to those surrounding his predecessor Evel Alfonso, whom Rain challenged for the USP leadership nearly 4 years ago. Now, much like Alfonso, Rain has decided to step away from the political arena. While the specific details of his retirement plans remain undisclosed, the announcement has sparked considerable interest and speculation about the president's future endeavors and the implications for the USP as it navigates this new chapter. Yep, and that's from Lockhaven Times. I don't think I said that. And from The Radical, Lame Duck Rain endorses PFJP. In a shocking about-face after a sound defeat at the USP Congress, Anton Rain announced his retirement while throwing his weight behind the PFJP. Anyone who would prevent Sol's figurehead Lily Scruff from seizing control of the Source government has got our vote. But this smacks of petty vengeance on Rain's part. There's no telling whether he really aligns with the party's democratic values, or whether he's just trying to sabotage Miss Groff on his way out. Yeah, it's a little bit of both, I think. Alright. So, I guess let's go have dinner at home. With the election looming, I had practically been sleeping at the Maroon Palace lately, but tonight I made a deliberate effort to get home early. I had told Monica and Diana I wanted a family supper, just like in the old days. Monica had promised to cook something special. I didn't know if it was my imagination, but there seemed to be more guards outside my complex than usual. Let's give them a suspicious look. I regarded them with suspicion as I passed. With the military against me, could they be trusted? Yeah, I don't like the fact there's more guards than usual. That's not a good thing. Once inside, I locked the front door behind me. I hurried past them, went inside, and locked the front door behind me. I heard footsteps coming my way. Hey, Papa. I just give her a hug. I opened my arms and embraced my daughter. She hugged me back happily. And how was school today? Tiana shrugged. Well, I prized at the science fair. Honestly, I think they're teaching girls different stuff because they think they're smarter than boys. Yeah, you might just be right. Tiana smiled. Mama's in there. I've got to do some homework before dinner. I followed her with my eyes as she went upstairs. She was starting to look more and more like her mother. I stepped into the kitchen. Monica was stirring a pot on the stove, her back turned to me. We'll hug her too, why not? I snuck up behind Monica and gave her a hug. She screamed and dropped her ladle. Whoopsies. When she realized it was me, she smiled and gave me a kiss on the cheek. Sorry, Anton, I've been on edge lately. Why don't you go fix yourself a drink in the living room? I'll let you know when dinner's ready. I sat down in the living room, poured myself a bit of whiskey, and flipped through one of Monica's women's magazines. It took me a second to realize Monica herself was on the cover. The headline, Sordland's Woman of the Year. Diana came rushing back downstairs, made a beeline for the coffee table. She picked up her pencil case. Almost forgot that. Man, Frank never took his studies so seriously. He does now. Romeo said he's getting really into his armor training. Papa, is Sordland run by a bunch of weaklings? It's complicated. Monica appeared in the doorway. She smiled at the two of us. Dinner's ready. The three of us gathered around the dining room table. Monica ladled out bowls full of zabla. The stew tasted as good as it smelled. Now that we're all here, I wanted to say something. The past 4 years have been the hardest in my life. I was so busy focusing on the needs of the Source people that I sometimes forgot about Sordland's most important people, my own wife and daughter. I hope someday we'll be able to put this behind us and be a normal family again. Monica's eyes were shining. Let's go with that. But right now, there's no time. We need to get out of Sordland, all of us. I don't trust those guards out there. I think things are getting really bad here. Monica and Diana turned to look at me in shock. Anton, what in the other living hell?
I've just signed part of my own country over to Rumburg. I'm going to be pariah, and so are all of you. Diana scratched her head. What's a pariah? It's an outcast, sweetie. I don't know about this, Anton. I still have so much to do for women's rights. I know, and you'll be able to come back to that, but we need to lay low for a while. You might be right. Diana's still confused. Papa, where are we going? I thought for a moment. Kairut, the only truly neutral country I knew, seemed like the obvious choice. A little house in the mountains wouldn't cost much. Kairut, it's going to be an adventure. But what about school? What about my friends? You'll make lots of new friends, and Kairut's school system is a lot better than Sorlin's anyway. Alright, Anton, when do we leave? Tomorrow morning. Let's get packing. Monica's face paled. She nodded silently. Cool, we're going on an adventure. Let's finish dinner at least. No, we don't have time. We hurriedly cleared our plates and went up to our rooms. We had a lot of packing to do. Cool. Okay. Well, let's see. Looks like we got a, GC report. There we go. That's the word I'm looking for here. From the ATO. ATO declares World Liberation Manifestation. Okay. In a major diplomatic development, the ATO has declared the World Liberation Manifestation, a strategic vision focused on promoting liberty, equity, and wealth across the globe. This declaration marks the ATO's dedication to advance these core values, serving as a counterpoint to the CSP's recent World Revolution Manifesto. The WLM advocates for a world where freedom, fairness, and prosperity reign supreme. These principles are rooted in the ATO's belief in a free market economy and democratic governance, and they reflect the Alliance's commitment to enhancing the global quality of life. This manifesto seeks to influence global policies and negotiations, promoting a future where every individual can exercise their liberties, enjoy equal opportunities, and share in global wealth. This vision contrasts the CSP's model, offering an alternative path to global prosperity. The ATO asserts that through the principles of the WLM, nations can achieve sustainable growth without sacrificing their individual freedoms. The WLM thus signifies a bold step towards a globalized world where prosperity is shared, liberties are upheld, and equity is non-negotiable. Cool. Alright, we got 2 newspaper articles here. First up from the Whole Sword Post, USP cancels alliance with PFJP. In a dramatic departure from President Rain's previous stance, the United Sorlin Party has decided to terminate its alliance with the People's Freedom and Justice Party. This significant shift in strategy comes just ahead of the impending elections as USP opts to dissolve its coalition and face the election independently. The party's newly appointed leader, Lily Scroff, made the announcement, emphasizing that the USP will no longer proceed with the coalition and will instead embark on the electoral journey alone. This decision reflects Groff's commitment to realigning the party with its foundational principles and restoring its original vision. Groff offered reassurances to the USP's supporters, promising that she will guide the party towards victory in the elections by re-establishing its core values and reinvigorating its base. As the political landscape becomes increasingly competitive, the USP's bold move to abandon its coalition will undoubtedly capture the attention of voters and political analysts alike, as they eagerly anticipate the outcome of this high-stakes gamble. And from the Radical, hope is not lost. In today's Communist Party rally, the CPS leader Dennis Stoller made a speech to the largest crowd he ever assembled. Tens of thousands came together in Volgan to give their support to the CPS leadership. In his speech, they may have censored us from the press, bullied us in the streets, took away our votes from us, but hope is not lost. They may have arrested us, tortured us, and killed us, but they could never silence us. This year, CPS will form the government, and I will transform this nation, said Stoller. Cool. Alright, well, that appears to be the end here, so let's continue. Sometime later. Don't slide away. Alright, back to Whole Sword here. Escaped from Whole Sword. Just one day after deciding to leave the country, I pulled out of the driveway in an unobtrusive-looking station wagon. Monica and Diana were with me. We'd all packed just one suitcase. I told the guards we were going to visit Monica's parents for the weekend. Papa, I forgot Mr. Bunny Bud. You're too old for stuffed animals, Diana. We don't have time, honey. Our ship leaves from Benfreyport in a few hours. I kept driving. After an hour or so of silence, Monica switched on the radio. I wasn't paying attention until I heard the words Anton Rain.
Lilius was giving a campaign speech, promising to fix all the mistakes I'd made. I can't wait to get out of this country. You better drive faster then. I pressed my foot to the gas pedal. After what seemed like forever, I passed the Benfey city limit sign. The port was in sight. Suddenly, I heard a siren blaring from behind me. I floored it, only to see that the road ahead of me was blocked. With a reluctant sigh, I pulled the car over. The policeman tapped on the window. I rolled it down. Sorry, sir, just routine checkpoints. Wait a minute, are you... Whoever you think I am, I've got a wad of cash that says otherwise. I grabbed a handful of bills from my suit pocket, waved them in the policeman's direction. Monica turned pale. I could see Deanna squirming in the backseat. The policeman seemed uneasy. After a few agonizing moments, he quickly snatched the money and stuffed it in his pocket. Forgive me, I obviously mistook you for someone else. You may proceed to your destination. Thank you. Once the police were out of my sights, I breathed a sigh of relief. Papa, that was illegal. It was a special circumstance. Monica looked chagrined, but said nothing. At last, there it was, the port of Benfey. The ship to Kyrite was already docked. Monica, Deanna, and I grabbed our belongings and left the car in the lot. I presented the ticket officer with the passes I'd booked under a fake name. After looking them over very closely, he let us on board. Let's go to the back of the ship. Why not? I don't think it makes a difference. I made my way to the back of the ship. My family and I stood there as we left harbor, watching Sordland recede into the distance. A Morgna Vescore. Affection, sister. Monica and I looked at each other. My wife had tears in her eyes. Let's go to the front. We walked to the ship's bow. A strong sea breeze was blowing. An impossibly wide expanse of water stretched out before me. I closed my eyes, listening to the roar of the waves and the cry of seagulls. The boat journey to Kyrite took over a week. We spent most of it making plans with your family. Alright, 1958, Constantium Kyrite. At long last, you reached the other side and disembarked in the city of Constantium. You immediately accessed the savings you transferred to an overseas account. You had enough to afford... let's go with the simple house in the countryside. Why not? For the next few months, you followed the news from Sordland closely. Once Yosef and his troops realized you were gone, they staged a coup at the Marine Palace, easily overpowering security there. Sordland was under military rule. With Yosef firmly in power, little news got out of the country that wasn't censored. Eventually, you stopped paying attention. Years went by. 1963. Over time, you and your family assimilated further into life in Kyrite. You... let's go with that one. Embarked on a series of lucrative public speaking gigs. Deanna excelled at her new school and eventually landed a prestigious internship with the Alliance of Nations. One day, you received a postcard from Franck saying that you were now a grandfather. He named his son after you. Wow, 1973. One day, on one of your rare trips into the city, you ran into Tomosaka, the television host who had interviewed you. While catching up over drinks, he proposed co-authoring a tell-all book about your presidency. You... well, let's turn him down. 1975. More time went by. The Anton Rain presidency became little more than a historical footnote as you devoted yourself fully to life in exile. While Deanna became a rising star in Kyrite politics, you and Monica were content to live out the rest of your days in anonymity. You never returned to Sordland. Well, I got a trophy for that, for Path to Exile. Jeez. That's this is not exactly how I wanted that to end, but, you know, hey, bad endings happen. I think I focused a little bit too much on trying to stop their session and just wound up screwing it up anyway. but that's alright. Let's see here. So, we were in office from 1954 to 1958, preceded by Abel Alfonso. Vice presidents being Gloria Torre and Peter Vectern. So, you're born in Deer, 1908. Graduated from the Deer University of Culture Department of History in 1930. Married to Monica Rain, children Frank and Diana Rain. Affiliations: Armadine Industries and Rain Wines USP. Rain Wines and ESP. There we go. Nice. I forgot about the little vineyard that I bought. Coolio. Let's see. Our little political chart here looks like we are Democratic millennialists. That's cool, I guess. Alright, let's get our stats here. Between 1954 and 1958, 2.5 million workers benefited from minimum wage. 81% fewer maternal deaths were recorded. 8,200 people died of criminal violence. 779 were killed during the clashes between Red Youth and Young Swords. 102,345 conscripts joined the workforce. More than 15,899 people with British descent were released from prison. Investigations were launched on 48 businessmen. 614,470 women joined the workforce, and 805,380 girls were enrolled in secondary education for the first time. Foreign investors have pulled out around $3 billion rent from the storage market, and 1,143 news articles were altered. And that last one's news to me. Everything else sounds about right. I don't know. I mean, other than the a little incident with Rumberg and a couple little things, I mean, that was honestly a fairly decent term in office. I don't know. It sucks that we got a bad ending here, but that's alright. But that feels like as good a place as any to end it for today, obviously. So I'm not 100% sure what's going to happen next, but I've already got Rizzy downloaded and installed, so I'll probably start on that for sure, kind of regardless of what I decide to do with the base game here. So, yeah, until next time. Thank you all very much for watching, and I hope to see y'all next time.